Yeah, you're welcome to another edition of Share Knowledge. My name is Sikil Balakale, and I'm here to share a few knowledge with you. Today, we'll be talking about poor countries and why some countries around the world are poor and why some are so wealthy. United Nations estimated that poor countries around the world, or poor people around the world, live less than $2 a day. That's the United Nations estimate. And sometime around 2022, India took over from Nigeria as the poverty capital of the world. But the truth is that if you look at it from the angle of poverty per population, if you really look at it, Nigeria is still the poverty capital of the world because India, for example, has a population of 1.45 billion with people of extreme poverty of around 83 million. Nigeria has people of extreme poverty of 75 million with population of around 220 million. So if you look at poverty per population for India, is around 30%, sorry, 6%, while for Nigeria is around 38 to 40%. But the critical question here is that why are countries poor? So let's get into that business. If you look at which countries around the world, what exactly do they do differently that makes them rich? Hmm? What are the things that they invest in that gives them, an edge over poor countries? Now we shall be examining issues like why poor countries are poor and how they can get out of poverty. Another question to ask ourselves is that what exactly is the real wealth of a nation? Now we can look at four um, different aspects of it. The first part of the real wealth of a nation is produce capital. This produce capital has to do with, infrastructure such as road, power generation, uh, machinery, the manufacturing industry of the country. We can also look at the human capital. This includes the skills, the education you have, innovation, talent, and exposure. Then we look at another issues, another aspect of wealth that to consider is the natural capital, which of course is the which you can group into two: renewable and non-renewable. For example, your forestry, your crude oil, your mineral resources, your gold, your copper, tin, uranium, and recently, the countries around the world have been talking about lithium. Now, the last part that would look at when it's in terms of the real wealth of the nation is the net foreign assets, and this include the foreign direct investment in a country, the sovereign wealth fund of that country, the foreign reserve of that country, and issues that has to do with the foreign debt of that country. Now, so the question is, what is exactly the formula to build wealth? How do countries who are building wealth around the world, how are they doing it? And why are other countries who are poor around the world, why are they not, building wealth? Now, if you want to know the net adjusted savings of a country, that's the formula to build the wealth of that country. It's just basically you look at the net national saving of that country plus the education expenditure. So that goes to tell you that education is very, very important if you really want to build wealth. So net national saving plus education expenditure minus energy depletion, mineral depletion, net forest depletion, damage from CO2 emission, damage from particulate emission. So Um, so it therefore goes that poor nations run on asset depletion, while rich nation or countries that has accumulated wealth over time run on knowledge economy. And if you look at their their net adjusted savings, for example, has a lot of sovereign wealth fund that they can rely on to to take care of their people. Now, for example, you see Norway has a sovereign wealth fund of around 1 trillion US dollars, or over 1 trillion US dollars, and their population is relatively low. So another reason why education is very important is that if it has been estimated by World Bank that if you invest $1 in primary education, you're going to get back $11 as return on investment. If you do the same, you invest $1 on secondary education, you get $12.5 on return on investment. And if you do the same for tertiary education, you get 16 tertiary education and skill acquisition, innovative education, you get back $16 as your return on investment. Now let us look at education facts in Africa, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, where which I take as the poverty headquarters of the world, and why we will not be moving forward. Now, we know that it is no news anymore that there are over 16 million out of school children in Nigeria, and almost 60% of children in sub-Saharan Africa between the ages of 15 and 17 are not in school, and 30% of adults and 20% of young people will be illiterate in poor countries by 2025 to 2026, actually. So in sub-Saharan Africa, only about 1/4 of pre-primary teachers are trained. Upper secondary teachers have a slightly better ratio, maybe about 50% have training, and girls are more likely to stay out of school than boys. So 9 million girls between the ages of about 6 and 11 in Africa will never go to school at all, compared to 6 million boys. So Africa has the highest rate of educational exclusion in the world. Over 1/5 of children between the ages of 6 and 11, and 1/3 between the ages of 12 and 14 are out of school. So that's not a very good story. There are 262 million young people without access to school, with the worst problem in sub-Saharan Africa. Now, what are the things that black people need to do in order to get out of poverty? So the first thing is we need to educate our children. Now, when I say education, I am talking about innovative education, technical education, entrepreneurship, and skill acquisition. We need to create our own jobs. A situation where the assets or the raw materials in Africa, where a rich guy in Europe, in America, will come, take the raw material, go to Asia to add value to it, and sell it back to us in Africa as finished product, should stop, because we are actually exporting raw material and importing back for batik by doing so. So if we are going to be really successful in Africa, we have to devise a means in which we take raw materials from our own ground, we educate our children, we invest in human capital, and we invest in infrastructure, and most importantly, we invest heavily in education. So that way, we are going to be able to create our own jobs. We are going to be able to, eradicate poverty out of Africa. Because when these rich guys come to Africa to take raw material, refine it in Europe, in Asia, then sell it back to us at about maybe 5 times the price, the budget. It means that we are importing poverty and exporting out skills from Africa. So, on that basis, what we need to do is to invest in education, invest heavily in education. So, on that basis, I'm going to end this video by this favorite quote of mine, which says, "One book, one pen, one child, and one teacher can change Africa and can eradicate poverty from Africa." So, thank you very much, and watch out for the next edition of Share Knowledge.